Reading from the book Manifest Your Destiny, author Wayne Dyer. The 9 Spiritual Principles for Getting Everything You Want. Chapter 1. The first principle, Becoming Aware of Your Highest Self. Within you is a divine capacity to manifest and attract all that you need to or desire. This is such a powerful statement that I suggest you reread and savor it before you begin this journey. Most of what we are taught to believe about our reality conflicts with this statement. However, I know it to be true and valuable that I encourage you to surrender any hesitation and let this thought enter your consciousness. I have a divine ability to manifest and attract what I need or desire. Becoming aware of your highest self does not happen through physical effort, nor can only one rely upon supernatural techniques such as invoking angels to do this heavenly work for you. What is essential is that you learn that you are both a physical body in a material world and a non physical being who can gain access to a higher level. And that higher level is within you and is reached through the stages of adult development. The developmental stages of infancy through adolescence have been explored by many writers, but very little has been written about the developmental stages of adulthood. There are 4 stages that each of us seem to traverse once we reach adulthood. These stages of our lives represent a way of thinking, although they are not necessarily associated with age or experience. Some of us proceed rapidly through these stages, learning at a young age that we are both a physical self and a higher self. Others remain in one of the earlier stages for a lifetime. Carl Jung, writing in Modern Man in Search of a Soul, provided some critical insight into the developmental task of adulthood. He believed that an awareness of a higher self is a developmental task of adulthood. In the next section, I'm offering my interpretation of Dr. Jung's stages of adult development. I write about these stages with some degree of expertise because I have spent many years in each of them. They have been stepping stones to my awareness of my higher self. Each stage involved experiences that permitted me to move ahead in my thinking and my awareness. Ultimately, I reached the level at which I could use these 9 principles to co create my life. That is, to manifest my own destiny. As you read this, examine the personal and unique stages of your adult development that parallel Dr. Jung's archetypes. Your objective is to become aware of your highest self as a dimension of your being that transcends the limitations of the physical world. The 4 stages of adult development. First, the athlete. The word athlete is not meant to disparage athletes or athletic behavior. It is intended as a description of the time in our adult lives when our primary identification is with our physical body and how it functions in our everyday world. This is the time when we measure our worth and our happiness by our physical appearance and abilities. Those abilities are multitudinous and uniquely personal. They can include such things as how fast we run, how far we throw a ball, how high we can jump, and the size of your muscles. We judge the worthiness of our physical appearance by a standard of attractiveness based on the shape, size, color, and texture of our body parts, hair, and complexion also. In a consumer culture like ours, judgment even extends to the appearance of our automobiles, houses, and clothes. These are the concerns one has when he or she is in an early stage of adult development. This is the time when life seems impossible without a mirror and a steady stream of approval to make us feel secure. The stage of the athlete is the time in our adult development when we are almost completely identified with our performance, attractiveness, and achievements. Many people outgrow the stage of the athlete and make other considerations more significant. Some of us, depending on our personal circumstances, move in and out of this stage. A few stay in the athlete stage for their entire lives. Whether or not you have removed or you have moved beyond the athlete stage is determined by how fixated you are on your body as your primary source of self identification. Obviously, it is healthy to take good care of your body by treating it kindly and exercising and nourishing in the best way your circumstances allow you. Having pride in your physical appearance and enjoying compliments does not mean you are body fixated. However, if your daily activities revolve around a predetermined standard of performance and appearance, you are in the stage that I am calling the athlete. This is not a stage in which you can practice the art of manifesting. To reach the ability to know and use your divine inner energy, you must move beyond your identification of being exclusively a physical body. The warrior. When we leave the athlete stage behind, we generally enter the stage of the warrior. This is the time when the ego dominates our lives and we feel compelled to conquer the world to demonstrate our superiority. My definition of ego is the idea that we have of ourselves as important and separate from everyone else. This can be an acronym for Earth Guide only, since ego represents our exclusive identification with our physical selves in our material world. The ego driven warrior objective is to subdue and defeat others in a race for the number one spot. During this stage, we are busy with goals and achievements in competition with others. This ego dominated stage is full of anxiety and endless comparison of our success. Trophies, awards, titles, and the accumulation of material objects record our achievements. The warrior is intensely concerned with the future and who might be his way or interfere with his status. He's motivated with slogans such as, if you don't know where you are going, how will you know when you get there? Time is money and money is everything. Winning is not everything, it is the only thing. Life is a struggle. If I don't get mine, someone else will. In the warrior stage, status and position in life are obsessions. Convincing others of our superiority is the theme of this other centered time of life in which the ego is a director. This is the time when we are attempting to do what warriors do, conquer and claim the spoils of our battles for ourselves. The test of whether you have left this stage is to examine what it is that is the driving force of your life. If the answer is conquering, defeating, acquiring, comparing, and winning at all costs, then it is clear that you are still in the warrior stage. You can probably regularly shift in and out of the warrior stage as a way of effectively functioning in the marketplace. Only you can determine how intensely that attitude dominates your existence and drives your life. If you do live primarily in this level, you will be unable to become a manifester in the sense that I am describing here. The statesperson. The statesperson stage of life is a time when we have tamed our ego and shifted our awareness. In this stage, we want to know what is important to the other person rather than obsessing over our quotas. We can talk or we can ask what your quotas are with genuine interest. We have begun to know that our primary purpose is to give rather than to get. The statesperson is still an achiever and quite often athletic. However, the inner drive is to serve others. Athletic freedom cannot be experienced until one learns to tame the ego and move out of self absorption. When you find yourself upset, anxious, and for feeling off purpose, ask yourself how much of your emotional state has to do with your assessment of how you are being treated and perceived. When you can let go of your own thoughts about yourself and not think of yourself for a long period of time, that is when you are free. Shifting out of the warrior stage and into the statesperson stage of life was an extremely freeing experience for me. Before I made the shift, I had to consider all of my ego needs when I gave a public lecture. This meant worrisome thoughts about how I would be received and reviewed, whether people would want to purchase my books and tapes, or fears about losing my place and becoming embarrassed. Then came a time when, without any concerted effort, I began to meditate before my lectures. During my meditation, I would silently recite a mantra asking how I might serve. My speaking improved significantly when I shifted away from my ego and entered the stage of statesperson. The statesperson stage of adulthood is about service and gratefulness for all that shows up in your life. At this level, you are very close to your highest self. The primary force in your life is no longer the desire to be the most powerful and attractive or to dominate and conquer. You have entered the realm of inner peace. It is always in the service of others, regardless of what you do or what your interests are, that you find the bliss you are seeking. One of the most touching stories I have ever heard is of Mother Teresa, who, even in her 80s, ministers to the downtrodden in the streets of Calcutta. A friend of mine in Phoenix was scheduled to do a radio interview with Mother Teresa. As they spoke before the interview, Pat said to her, Mother Teresa, is there anything I can do to help you with your cause? Could I help you raise money or give you some publicity? Mother Teresa replied, no, Pat, there is nothing that you need to do. My cause is not about publicity, and it is not about money. It is about something much higher than that. Pat persisted, saying, isn't there anything I can do for you? I feel so helpless. Mother Teresa's response was, if you really want to do something, Pat, tomorrow morning, get up at 4 a.m. and go out on the streets of Phoenix. Find someone living there who believes that he is alone and convince him that he is not. That is what you can do. This is a true statesperson giving of herself each and every day. When we help others to know that they are not alone, that they too have divine spirit within them, regardless of the circumstances of their lives, we move to a higher self that provides us with a sense of peace and purpose, unavailable in the athlete and warrior experiences. It is here that we might recall the words of Mother Teresa: I see Jesus Christ every day in all of his distressing disguises. There is one stage even higher than the statesperson, the four stages where I have been carefully leading you on this journey of awareness development. The spirit. When you enter the stage of life which I call a spirit, regardless of your age or position, you recognize your truest essence, the highest self. When you know your highest self, you are on your way to becoming a co-creator of your entire world, learning to manage the circumstances of your life and participating with assurance in the act of creation. You literally become a manifester. The spirit stage of life is characterized by an awareness that this place called Earth is not your home. You know that you are not an athlete, a warrior, or even a statesperson, but that you are an infinite, limitless, immortal, universal, and eternal energy temporarily residing in a body. You know that nothing dies, that everything is an energy that is constantly changing. As a soul with a body, you are passionately drawn to your inner world. You leave fears behind and start to experience a kind of detachment from this physical plane. You become an observer of your world and you move into other dimensions of consciousness. This inner infinite energy is not just in you, it is in all things and all people who are alive now and have ever lived. You begin to know this intimately. In order to evolve beyond the earth plane, you need to learn to leave it all at will by finding the source of this infinite energy that is responsible for filling your lungs, beating your heart, growing your hair, and making it possible for you to read the words on this page. You are physical being. You, the physical being, are not growing your hair. Your nature is doing that for you. The energy that is you, is handling all of the details. That spirit that is you is not contained by the physical domain at all. It has no boundaries, no form, no limits to its outer edges. You are aware of the real source of your life, even though you have been conditioned to believe otherwise. When you reach this level, you are in the square in the space I think of as being in the world, but not of this world. This energy that is you, call it when you will, spirit soul can never die and has never died in the past. Most people think of the spiritual world as a future occurrence that they will know after death. Most of us have been taught that the highest self is something that you cannot know as long as you are trapped in a body on this planet. However, the spirit is now. It is in you in this moment. And the energy is not something that you will ultimately come to know, but is what you are here and now. The unseen energy that was once in Shakespeare or Picasso or Galileo or any human form is also available to all of us. That is because the spirit energy does not die, it simply changes form. Even though our rational left brain mind has been trained to believe that when a person dies, his spirit has gone, the truth is that you cannot destroy energy. Your highest self is the spirit presently within you. The energy that was Picasso was not his body, nor was the energy that was Shakespeare his body. It was the inner feelings and the creative genius that took the form of a body and a creation on canvas or paper that has never died. It can't die because it has no boundaries, no beginning, no end, no physical characteristics that we call form. That energy is within you. If you want to know it, you can tune into it. And when you do, you leave the limitations of this earth plane and enter the dimension of limitlessness that allows you to create and attract to you whatever it is that you want or need on this journey. At this level, you loosen your emotional attachment to what you view as your reality. This detachment is followed by a knowing that the observer within you, who is always noticing your surroundings and your thoughts, is in reality the source of your physical world. This awareness, along with your willingness to enter this domain, is the beginning of learning to attract to yourself that which you desire and need while you are in a physical plane. Up to this point, you probably have been unable to loosen your attachment to the material world. You may believe that there is no other world. If so, you have actually abandoned your divine capability, which is the cause of the sensory world you so assiduously embrace. Gaining the awareness that you have a higher self that is universal and eternal will lead you to gaining access to that world more freely and to participating in the act of manifesting your heart's desire, the seen and the unseen. Now consider for a moment the world of form that you see around you, including your body. What is the cause of all that you observe? Contemplate who it is that observes and notices all of the stuff. Who it is that observes and notices all of the stuff. Who is that invisible eye inside all of the tubes, bones, arteries, and skin that are your physical form. To know yourself authentically, you must understand that everything that you notice around you was and is caused by something in the world of unseen. That something is the world of the spirit. When you look at a giant oak tree, ask yourself what caused that tree to become what it is. It started from a tiny acorn, a seeding that grew into a mighty tree. Your logical, rational mind says that there must be something resembling treeness within that acorn. But when you open the acorn, you find nothing resembling a tree. All you find is a mass of brown stuff, quiet dust. If you further examine the brown stuff that makes up the acorn, you will find smaller shreds of brown stuff until ultimately you discover distinctly acornish molecules. When you find atoms, then electrons, then subatomic particles, until you finally go as small as it is possible with a microscope at full magnification. Here you will find that there are no particles but waves of energy that mysteriously come and go. Your conclusion will be that the corn and the tree itself have a creator that is unseen, immeasurable, and called by those of us who need to classify such things as the spirit or soul. The source of all, therefore, is no thing, since it is not in the dimension of the measurable. This unseen world, that is the source of the world of the seen, is also the cause of you. Observe yourself scientifically, and you will discover that you are not your creation. If you did not create yourself, what was it that created you? We can go back to conception and explain creation as one drop of human protoplasm colliding with another, resulting in your appearance in the form of a tiny speck of life that grew into the body that you are today. But if you delve further into those drops of human protoplasm and turn up the magnification in the microscope, and if you do the same with the speck that was your first experience of form, you discover the same truth that described the acorn. In the beginning, this energy that has no dimensions, energy that is not in the visible world, this is our original self. It is a potentiality, not an object, a future pull, if you will, that is a potential to become a something and nothing more. The general concept of a soul or spirit is that you have one, but it is not that implant to daily life. It may become really significant, though, after your body dies. I'm taking a different position here, and it is the core of this first principle of manifesting. It will lead you to your highest self, and then on the ability to live a miraculous life of co creating with God your ideal state of being. Furthermore, this spirit is permanent and incapable of being lost or removed. Your destiny is to become a co creator with God and to treasure the sanctity of all that comes into this world of form that we call home, but which is only a transitory stopping place. Your creative ability originates in the unseen mind, it begins in the unseen world of waves and energy. So, too, do the planets, the stars, the flowers, the animals, the rocks, you, your possessions, your creations, all of it, no exceptions. Examine everything and anything, and you will find that at the core, there is no form, only an unseen quality that brings it from the world of the unseen into the world of the observable. It is this world of the unseen that I would like you to consider as you read these words. Imagine that there are two worlds in which you coexist at all times. Look around you now at the world of form, then look within and realize that it began in the unseen dimension that we are not even close to comprehending. Then make the big leap into the awareness that you are both of these worlds simultaneously. You are not separate from the world of the unseen any more than you could be separate from the world of the seen. You are a combination of both at all moments of your life, even if you have come to believe that you reside exclusively in the world of the seen and that the unseen is something other than you. It is you, all of it, right now. The problem that faces most of us is in becoming manifestors and learning to manage the circumstances of our lives is that we have forfeited our ability to oscillate between the worlds of form and the unseen world. Imagine that there is a line down the middle of the room that you are in this moment. Pretend that everything to the right of the line represents the world of the seen. To the left of the line is everything that is the cause of everything on the right. The unseen world is on the left. The seen world is on the right. Now question your belief that you, the whole you, cannot enter the world to the left of the imaginary line. If you were to cross that line every now and then, you would be entering the world of the Creator. Have you been taught that the Creator is something outside yourself? I will deal with this more thoroughly in the second principle. If so, your inner world, the world of the unseen, is full of notions that prohibit you from participating in the creative process. There are dogmas that represent participating in the creative process as blasphemy or foolishness or thinking too highly of yourself. But go back to the opening statement of this first principle and reread it until it resonates with you. Within you is a divine capacity to manifest and attract all that you need or desire. It is more than within you. It is you, and you must overcome your conditioning and give yourself permission to enter this world. Cross the line that separates the physical you from the you that is just as real but unseen. When you overcome the obstacles of your mind that prevent you from crossing the line, your unseen self will be your ticket to creation in your life. Transcending your conditioning. Like it or not, all of us have been conditioned to think and act in ways that have become automatic. We need to figure out how to get past this conditioning if we want to gain access to our highest self. You can be sure the ego will not take well to this kind of effort. Asking the ego to help diminish its own significance so that you might have access to your higher self is akin to attempting to stand on your own shoulders. Ego is as unable to move aside in deference to spirit as your eye is able to see itself or the tip of your tongue able to touch the tip of your tongue. Your task thus becomes a quagmire of paradoxes. If you rely upon your ego to get past the influence of ego, it will only strengthen its hold on you. You must figure out how to emancipate consciousness from the limitations of your mind and your body. In the ego state, you generally experience yourself as a separate entity. To move past this conditioning, you want to begin to see yourself as a humanity instead, humanity itself, rather than as a separate form in a body. Very simply put, if you feel that you are disconnected from the rest of the humanity and truly a separate entity needing to prove yourself and complete or compete with others, you will be unable to manifest your heart's desire. Manifesting is not about getting things that are not there. It is about attracting what is already here and is a part of you on a spiritual level. If you remain separate, that which you wish to manifest will forever be unavailable to you. If you shift that awareness around and you're able to see yourself as a part of what you desire, you will have transcended the conditioning of your ego and all of the other egos who have contributed to this process in your life. With the realization of God within yourself, you not only dissolve your ego's identification as separate from God, but you have left behind the old ways of seeing yourself. As you awaken to your highest self, your conditioning as a separate being will be overcome with practice. Below are a few of the conditioned thoughts that will keep your ego in charge of your life and prevent you from materializing what you desire and what desires you. 1. I am not in charge of my life. That force is outside me. This kind of conditioned response to the circumstance of your life puts the responsibility on something outside you and becomes a handy excuse when your life is not going as you would like it to be. You can change this perception in any given moment and begin to trust that the vital force of the universe is exactly who you are or what you are. Entertain this notion every day by noticing the life force flowing through you. Turn your attention away from the ego dominated thoughts about the circumstance of your life to the present moment by consciously noticing your breath, the sounds, the textures, smells, and the scenes that the life force is experiencing through you. Practice stepping away from the thoughts about your life in any given moment and step into the experience of the life energy flowing through your senses. 2. People cannot manifest. It is all of a function of the cosmic throw of the dice. This is a very popular idea, particularly for those who are in less than propitious circumstances. Blaming luck or some external invisible force that controls the universe is a habit of conditioning that leads to disempowerment and ultimately defeat. You will have to read yourself of this hallucination that you are powerless to attract what you desire. Keep in mind that you are not playing magic when you learn to manifest. You are simply manifesting a new aspect of yourself that has been hidden. You are the universe. It is not something outside you. You are that force which is in everything, even the things that have previously failed to show up in your life. Remember, as you think, so shall you be. If you think you can't, you are right. And that is precisely what you will see showing up in your life. The results of I cannot lead to the next condition response. 3. I have tried before and it has never worked for me. Here, the conditioned response is believing that once having tried and failed, further efforts will yield the same results. A key word in this thought is try. Trying means struggling, working at it, giving it a lot of effort, setting goals, and so forth. Just for a moment, stop and try to pick up a pencil from the table. Just try to pick it up. You will find that there is no such thing as trying. You either pick it up or you don't, period. What you call trying to pick up is simply not picking up the pencil. Let go of your obsession with the past and with trying and instead remain relaxed and casual and in the moment, noticing your life force minus your judgments and explanations. You will see good multiply as needed when you come to know that you are not powerless to make it happen. The universe is rich with abundance that will be provided to you when you let go of reasoning that says your past must be your present. The reason that you have been unsuccessful in manifesting what you want is because you are attached to an idea that is erroneous. Your past is an illusion. It is the trail left behind you, and a trail behind you cannot drive you today, regardless of what you choose to believe. All you have it now, all you have is now, and you have never tried anything. You have simply not done it yet. You can now shift that reasoning right out of your inner world. 4. Only highly evolved beings can manifest. This is the ego saying that you are separate and distinct from your spiritual teachers and others who live at the highest levels, even though every spiritual practice encourages you to see the divine being within yourself, to know you have in you the same mind as you master, and to discover the kingdom of heaven within yourself. Your ego cannot buy it. It is sold on separatedness and convinces you that you are less than those highly evolved beings you have heard about. Relinquish those thoughts and replace them with seeing yourself as connected to everyone by that unseen life force that is your divine essence. Refuse to put others either above or below you, but instead see them as you. It is necessary to grasp the idea firmly before you can experience true manifestation. These are a few of the thoughts that swirl around in your head whenever you come to contemplate the idea of having what you and need, want and need you. The first, this first spiritual principle directs you to overcome your conditioning. It requires you to adopt a new attitude about yourself and then to put this attitude into daily practice. I'm encouraging you to know the highest self rather than read about it, to know it in the deep sense and the deepest reaches of your being, and then to never again doubt it. Having a philosophy is useless if it is simply an awareness of rituals and the teachings of experts. To make your philosophy work for you, it must become an energy pattern that you use in your daily life. It must have both an eternal truth to it as well as a utilitarian quality that makes you feel, yes, I know this is to be true because I apply it and it works. You do have a higher self. You can know this higher self in both the seen and the unseen dimensions of life. Once you are convinced of this, the belief that the ego is the dominant motivating force in your life will lose its power. I encourage you to follow the suggestions for developing this first principle as a permanent part of your total awareness. This plan of action worked for me. If I encounter doubt, I return to this 4 point plan. It always reacquaints me with the highest self. How to know your highest self without any doubt? 1. Here is a great definition of enlightenment: to be immersed in and surrounded by peace. Your highest self only wants you to be at peace. It does not judge, compare, or demand that you defeat anymore or anyone or be better than anyone. It only wants you to be at peace. Whenever you are about to act, ask yourself this question: is what I am about to say or do going to bring me peace? If the answer is yes, then go with it and you will be allowing yourself the wisdom of your highest self. If the answer is no, then remind yourself that it is your ego at work. The ego promotes turmoil because it wants to substantiate your separatedness from everyone, including God. It will push you in the direction of judgment and comparison and cause you to insist on being right and best. You know your highest self by listening to the voice that only wants you to be at peace. 2. Go beyond the restriction of the physical plane. The purpose of the highest self is to assist you in this effort. You do this by creating an inner sanctuary that is yours and yours alone. Go to this silent inner retreat as often as you can and let go of all attachments to the external world of the ego. As you go to this sanctuary, a light will be born within you that you will come to know and respect. This light is your connection to the energy of manifestation. It is like taking a bath in pure light. You will feel this energy as you go silently within. This light is not of the earth plane. It will help you go beyond the physical world. Remember, you cannot go beyond the earth plane if you are still in it. The real you, the unseen you, can attract the energy of the sun, the wind, and all that is celestial. 3. Refuse to defend yourself to anyone or anything on the earth plane. You must learn to stay within your higher energy pattern, regardless of what goes before you in the material world. This means that you become like an unknown sage who refuses to lock horns with anything on this physical plane. This is the challenge of the higher self. It is beyond the reality system that you identified as material and as form. Use your inner light for your alignment and allow those who disagree with that perspective to have their own points of view. You are at peace. You never explain, and you refuse to flaunt your energy. You know it, and that is enough for you. 4. Finally, surrender and trust in the wisdom that created you. You are developing a faith that transcends the beliefs and teachings of others. This trust is your corner of freedom, and it will always be yours. In fact, it is so important that it is the subject of the second spiritual principle of manifestation, which you will read about when you turn to the next section. Your highest self is not just an idea that sounds lofty and spiritual. It is a way of being. It is the very first principle that you must come to understand and embrace as you move towards attracting to you that which you want and need for this parenthesis in eternity that you know as your life. End of chapter 1.